What is up, guys? Welcome to a brand new video. Today we're going to check out the PBE and have a look at who Riot want to give a good old slap to in 6.19, who they're going to nerf and buff basically. This one I think is actually kind of interesting. Riot are testing a bunch of different things, but I've been keeping track and we're going to go over them today. Like this if you do though, dislike it if you don't. Let me know what you think of these changes, but I really want to know who you think actually needs a nerf next patch. There are two big nerfs on there right now. There are actually kind of a few, but these are the two biggest in my opinion. But again, because I love you guys, they're going to be timestamps in the description for some of the weird changes that might happen, a few mini reworks, and some normal buffs and nerfs. So SORAKA is finally getting some attention, but this is kind of a little bit harsh. Like they're changing her W cooldown, so her heal cooldown from 4 seconds rank 1 to 10 seconds rank 1. Late game is still going to be 2 seconds, so it's like this spam heal, but early game is from 4 to 10. That is mad. Although it isn't there right now, they've also increased the mana cost of her Q on the PB earlier, so that might still be a thing coming back. I don't know about you guys, okay, but I hate SORAKA, like legit, sends me to sleep playing it. So you could like have one of your hands down your pants and just farm versus her with your other one and you'd be fine. That's all you're going to do anyway. The thing is though, SORAKA is actually most efficient early in my opinion. Like later you have healing reduction and the spam will eventually like kill you. In lane, health potions are going to do more. They keep you just like spamming and recovering your health, your Q spam as well. Like it's easy to kind of give your AD a free farm lane. Now nerfing our early game is kind of like saying, okay, we have this problem champion, let's just screw her because we can't be bothered to deal with her. Like you're going to be nerfing her where she is supposed to be strong, right? Like even if I disagree with how SORAKA is and stuff, this is going to give her more like of the Talia treatment. A 10-second cooldown in the lane phase, like how do you ever have a bot lane fight with that and be useful? Like you're not going to be doing anything, you're going to be standing there. You might as well take like 80 reds and just auto attack people. This obviously might not go through. It's still early days on the PB. I'm not actually that sad about it because I hate SORAKA, but this is pretty harsh. Now the second bigger one is to Aurelion at Soul, and for most you're probably like, wait, what? He's not even that good. Well actually at higher ranks he's probably the most underrated champion you can play. Literally it always has a high win rate as well. The changes are going to be his passive damage actually going up because his W damage is down quite a bit. If you weren't sure, it has a base value, then when you activate it, it gets bigger and it does 150% damage. Now the base is being halved, so yeah, a big whack. His E as well cannot be used in combat anymore, so anytime you take damage from a champion or a tower, it's going to have a little bit cooldown and you can't just escape with it. Technically, because of the base damage increase, it's actually a slight buff at level 18 to his overall damage, but earlier into the game though, so you know, like when you're actually playing, when most of the game is and stuff, it's going to be a pretty decent nerf. I'm not sure, but it kind of seems like Riot is trying to tackle him because he can be a problem at higher reload, but like forgetting that he's pretty crap at lower ones. It makes sense in a way, I guess. They've said it loads of times before. They actually balance things from about the plat level and above, which then filters down into lower rank games. This might not seem like a massive deal because who plays him anyway, right? Well, actually, I kind of guess not as many as before if this change goes through. Now we're going to go on to the kind of reworks on the PBE right now. Kog'maw, I just did a video about properly, so if you want to know more about the reverted changes to his rework, then a link will be down below. But they are basically making his W go back to how it used to be. They're removing the increase of attack speed cap on it, the bonus attack speed you get from items, but it won't do reduced AD damage anymore. It's going to have more range, more damage on it like before the rework. Now we already knew that bit, but on the PBE they're also adding passive attack speed back onto his Q now, so 15 to 35% bonus depending on the rank, which in a way makes up for the change back, I guess, but kind of balances out how the attack speed parts were removed anyway. Now I don't want to spend too much time on that because we have already done a whole video on it, but the other one is a maybe. Now this isn't actually on there right now, but it was at the start of the cycle and it's just been kind of sidelined at the moment. They were looking at changing how Anivia's damage works in this kind of mini rework, I guess. Like actually before we look at that, let's just point out there are some changes still on the PB right now. They're going to be reducing her E damage at every rank from 5 to 25 damage lost off of what it is now, so they are still nerfing her. The mini rework thing though was how her E bonus damage is actually kind of calculated how it works. So a Q has two parts to it, right, where it passes through someone and when it explodes, which is the stun element as well. They were going to divide this into two things though, called chilling an enemy if it passes over them and making them iced if it explodes on them, which is kind of corny really. But the E damage would be different. This is the big thing. So instead of doubling now on anyone touched by your E or ultimate, it would deal 150% bonus damage on a chill target and 200% on an iced one. Her ultimate was also going to be changed so it would chill enemies, so 150% bonus damage until it reached full size, and then it would ice them instead, so 200% bonus damage from your E. Now that was kind of complicated, but in a nutshell, okay, your Q chills them unless it stuns them, then it ices them. Your ultimate chills them unless it's full size, then it ices them. Chilled is 150% damage from your E, iced is 200% damage from your E. Now as I said, these have been reverted for now, but this is such a cool and unique way to balance Anivia in my opinion. It completely bones that really easy burst trade, like firing your E off and then ultimate before it lands for the crazy damage. Actually takes takes a bit more skill now to do full damage, and I personally think that's a good thing. This would be kind of different to anything we've actually seen before, so let me know what you guys think. Like, do you think it's actually going to work? In my opinion, it reduces her power, right? It makes bad Anivia players a lot worse, but good Anivia players will just be hit a little bit, just like kind of change how you play it. It makes her a lot easier to play against too, actually. They can't just run up to you and do that dumb burst trade. So let's look at these maybe changes though. So these are going to be the ones coming off and on the PBE, clearly being tested, but I think it's cool to see what Riot are messing around with, what they're kind of thinking, I guess. The first one is to Nunu. I think we can kind of agree a little bit of a dead champion right now, sadly, but right now, as of this video, he has no changes on the PBE. They have been benched. Now, the changes were to his Blood Boil and his ultimate though. So the ultimate slow was increasing over the duration, not as bad at the start, really high at the end. So his W, the Blood Boil, had a brand new effect. If someone attacked an enemy champion while they were buffed by his W, it would enrage all surrounding allies who had the buff as well, increasing attack speed per hit up to 40%. Basically, it would mean if Nunu Blood Boiled his friendly kog'maw, for example, then hit an enemy champion, that kog'maw would get even more bonus attack speed. As you can kind of guess, that is just a tad, like just a little bit broken in my opinion. The thing is, like, imagine a Nunu, right? A Lulu kog'maw, like Blood Boil increased attack speed, Lulu increased attack speed, and picks damage, and normal insane cog damage. That is 100% busted. I mean, I would love to play it. It would be so broken. It'd be a lot of fun, but I don't ever want to play against that. That is for sure. Now, as I said, they aren't on there right now, so who knows if they're going to come back, but it's kind of interesting to know at least they are looking at Nunu and trying to get him back into the meta a little bit more. Now, another one that is really odd is to Mundo. So another champion that's kind of disappeared, largely actually thanks to Morello being reworked and the best mid lane item now, and also the new Executioner's Calling AD version, which is only 800 gold and built into Last Whisper now. Now, in my opinion, that is kind of what killed him this season, but anyway, the changes are right now on the PB are to his E cooldown is down a bit, and the AD increase has been increased slightly. That's not the interesting part though, to be honest. The changes before were a new Q, so it now applies grievous wounds and has a slight range increase. This to me is the weirdest change. Like, I can just imagine a really odd conversation going down with these changes. Like, okay, what counters Mundo, right? Well, grievous wounds counters him, so if they're going to use it against him all the time, why don't we just give it to him and you can use it against them as well? Like, that makes no sense. I think this is kind of pointless, but again, it's something completely different and random, which is a little cool insight into how Riot really works, I guess. I'd be very surprised if it made it to live though. Cho'Gath had another maybe change. Right now they are gone, but it was looking at his W, so the scream part. It had a reduced cooldown. It was reducing the silence though as well, rank 5, half a second off it, which is kind of big, but it got the target now after the cast rather than pre-cast, and the range was up slightly. Now, I think what this means is before you even flash the animation, you would still get silence and take the damage because it dealt that stuff before the animation even happened. This used to annoy the crap out of me playing against him. You couldn't just use like skill to dodge it and flash it. It's also a very old mechanic that I don't think any other champion really has anymore. They've all been changed over time. Now, if that went through, it would be a lot easier to play against that, even though the range is up as well. What I don't get though is that is a nerf, and a pretty big nerf I think, actually, to a champion that kind of sucks already, unless you pull it out in certain situations, I guess. The cooldown reduction is nice though. I have to kind of highlight that because at rank 5 it is 4 seconds off it, which is pretty big with cooldown reduction as well, but I'm not kind of sure if that's enough to balance that really. There are some more buffs and nerfs I want to get into very quickly before we end this video, and they are still on the PB right now, so they might be coming in 6.19. Twitch's Q, Ambush, the bonus attack speed is being reduced late game to 50% from 70%, a reasonable chunk away from it, but Twitch is pretty busted at the moment late game. He is like a real hyper carry and so hard to deal with really. I'm not sure if this is going to be enough, but it is kind of a start. The idea is that this nerfs the burst combo at the start of a fight, so the Ghost Spade, ultimate, ambush, attack speed altogether is way more damage than normal at the start to kind of nuke people down with. Cassiopeia is also getting a reasonably big nerf this patch as well, so the W slow is reduced by 15% each rank. The W was reduced from 5 to 4 seconds duration, but this has been reverted for now. The E healing is now based on level as well, not rank, so level 1 it'll be about the same, but it's going to be less than it was before over the course of the game. I don't really know if the healing is a problem, to be honest. I don't play enough Cassio, but it might help a little bit. Cassio is super underrated right now though, and a real monster for solo queue, both top and mid, so if you can play her, I would definitely recommend abusing her before she does get nerfed. Like, I would expect more nerfs than this to come out of 6.19. Udyr is the last buff I actually want to mention. Like, it's not massive, but it might help a little bit. His Phoenix stance is having the damage increase. At rank 5 it's 35 damage extra, which is decent, but the duration is down to 4 seconds from 5. Personally, I think Udyr could do okay in the meta right now. Not amazing, but not terrible either. I doubt this is going to make him like top tier or anything like that, but it might just get these like one-trick Udyr players back out of retirement at least. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I have had thunder and lightning outside the entire time, so I'm sorry if you guys can hear this. Hopefully I can edit that out in a post, but we'll see. Thank you for watching though, and for now I'll leave you with the robots.